Like at Isetan, I got the condom for my lens, is okay. This goes to the Bintang Street food center. I think I just broke my rib again when I was like tying my plastic bag. It was very painful. Let's go over to Isetan. Where did I go? Today is the 19th of February 2017. It's Sunday. Ow, my back hurts again. The other time, the same feeling, that like cracking a knuckle happened at the back. It's gonna rain too. Oh my god. Let's go to Isetan now. This lot 10, very nice. To Isetan, oh god, 10 minutes past 3, no problem. The event starts at 3 until 4:30, if I'm not mistaken. And that goes to lot 10, ow! Let's go. So if I get a chance to go and video, the person that is going to be featured today is Mr. Nobuyuki Tanaka, the second person here. And today is of course 19th of February. So now they are watching the video. It calms the person down before they go into the main event there, where they will prepare the food.
No, still same but different.
So they're going to do shirai, tofu and vegetable in sesame sauce, sawaru no miso yuan yaki or Japanese grilled or Spanish mackerel, marinated with miso, and osui mono, Japanese clear soup with splendid Alfonsino and turnip. And complimentary from us, sakura mochi, Japanese sweet consisting of sweet pink colored rice cake with a red bean paste, wrapped in pickled cherry blossom leaf, genmai cha, Japanese brown rice green tea, and sake, free flow. Ooh, Japanese rice one. That's different from the last one. I don't see anybody drinking alcohol. Small kids are playing in front of this. So far I still don't know what this thing is actually. You know what this is? No idea. It's supposed to be interactive, right? No idea. Hey! Not the father, wrong father. Okay. Can he move? Not sure. Hey. Okay. They look a bit better without the girdle. With the girdle, I'm getting like bait sores, very itchy. Today I just found out that my person who introduced me to the group that has all the events, Joseph, a lawyer, Indian lawyer, is quitting events. So quite a, I mean, I got to know him from the liquidity event, and now he says for health reasons he doesn't want to go to events anymore to get all those free alcohol and stuff. Sad. Very sad indeed. So I'm still waiting for whether I'll be able to enter. Not the show. Chef Shoko Tanaka is going on stage, so I can listen to him while I wait for Miss Shoko for the go ahead to go at the back of the TV to film how it is done.
Want to know a little bit more about Chef today, maybe about history and stuff like that. So we'll ask him a couple of questions. Now, I think first of all, perhaps we'll be a bit curious about his restaurant. So is it, as you can see, so it's there. So see as the photos come by, it's a 3-story.
So this is a new area.
Completely out of wood. If you observe the architectural history of Japan, and then it's possible for them to build any building without using a single nail. And that's part of the architectural uniqueness surrounding this particular restaurant. Now, as mentioned before, it is both a restaurant and an inn, although its primary function is as a restaurant. So, すぐ見た目を見ても、お寺とかちょっと神社に似てるというところが
やっぱり宮大工といいまして、神社の格とかを手掛ける大工さんの中でもちょっとレベルの高い大工さんがいらっしゃるんですけど、その方に作っていただいたというのもありますし、そういうふうなカラフル屋根とかね、そういうところもそういうふうなお寺と一緒のような感じで作ろうという、この玄関とかそういうような感じで作っていただきました。
Alright, so it looks like it's very steep in cultural richness and diversity, because it does kind of look like a temple or a shrine. And if you look, for example, it's very spacious on the inside. This was actually built by one of the more well-known carpenters back in the day of Mia carpentry, who was well-known in his work, actually with temples and shrines. So you can see how certain elements they resemble such architectural constructs. Now, while I was doing a little bit of homework and I was observing this, so a small thing kind of caught my eye. いろいろ写真を見てとても気になりますが、これは何でしょうか？
床と言いまして、鴨川のように言いまして、川の上にこういうような板を引きまして、座敷を引いてご飯を食べてもらうというようなやり方なんですけども、これもそうなんです。結構賑わってる感じなんですけども、1600年、1500年ぐらいからこういうふうな京都は夏すごく暑いので、遠くからのお客さんをおもてなしするのに、少しでも涼しくというので、川の上に将棋を引いて皆さんにいろいろ振る舞ったご飯を振る舞ったっていうのが始まりで、いまだにそれが続いております。
Okay, so if you notice, there's something that kind of looks like a wooden deck that's built on the river. And in Japanese they call this yuka, but I can't really translate that well because literally it would mean flooring. But that would give you the image of like a concrete floor, for example. What's interesting about this unique aspect of tourism is that if you look back at the history, 400 to 500 years ago, this practice has continued. Now, Kyoto can get very warm in the summer because it's surrounded by mountains, so the heat tends to collect there. And as part of the Japanese hospitality, they want their customers to be able to have a meal in the most pleasant environment. So in an effort to make it as cool as possible for them, they would stretch out this wooden deck or this flooring, this yuka, out onto the river so that the customers can have their meal on the river. And it would be quite cool because you're eating on the river and there's a bit of a breeze going on. And that makes it more pleasant overall. ちなみにこれ5月から9月までにI see. 他の時期はないですかね。
寒いので、
そうですね。
秋の月はちょっと寒くて、さすがに外でご飯食べる状態じゃないので、やらないんですけど、これは京都だけでして、他の県のご飯は絶対できないんですね。っていうのを法律で川の上でやるっていうのは禁止されてるんですけども、でも京都はやっぱりその1500年
Now obviously, if you consider it, now this is only available, so if any of you ever plan to go to Kyoto and you want to visit Suruse and eat the food there, especially after demonstration, this yuka is only available from May to September, because during the other seasons, it's a bit too chilly to be outside. What's also unique is that this kind of architecture is only available in Kyoto, and perhaps it's the only restaurant that does this kind of flooring over the river, because it's illegal to build a building on a river in Japan. But because Suruse was established before this law was passed, they sort of closed one eye, made an exception, and allowed it to continue. And that makes this thing have a lot of great cultural and historical value. So that's actually really good. I'm also curious about the kind of apprenticeship that has gone through, because we always hear about how difficult it is to become a chef. ここでちょっともちろん料理人とか職人になるために修行を重ねなければいけない。そうどんな修行をなさったのかちょっと気になります。
そうですね。他の大体料理屋さん、他の料理屋さんに修行に行くんですけども、そういうところに行きまして、なんていうかやっぱり下っ端といいますか、本当に下働きからいきなりやっていく。本当にみんなが嫌がるような仕事っていうか、そういうのをやって、上の人が仕事しやすいような状況を作るっていうのが、日本でいう追い回しという、追い回されていることを追い回しっていうんですけど、それを修行時代はすることによって、上の人がどういうふうにしたら仕事がやりやすいかっていうことをね、常に考えながら仕事をするっていうのが、パッとちょっと工場が欲しいなっていう時に工場が毎日外出るとか、器を盛りたいなと思った時に、上が仕事をした時に外出るとか、そういうような人間関係といいますか、それが結果的に今お客さんがどう思ってるのかなっていうことを常に考えながら仕事ができるっていうところがすごく学んだところ、料理の腕とかいうのもそういうような人間関係がすごく学べたなっていう
そうですね。はいはい。Alright, so he is apprenticed in quite a number of restaurants in his time. On his journey, I suppose, to become the owner chef today. What's really fascinating is that one of the major lessons that he took away from that experience is not so much related to cooking, but about the interpersonal relationships that they've had. Now, when you become an apprentice to a chef or to a restaurant, you start from the very bottom. And going up, moving up, in a way, because you're at the very bottom, you tend to get the kinds of jobs that people at the top don't really want to do. So one thing that they emphasized on during the apprenticeship is, now, from the things that I do at the most basic level, how do I make it easier for the people later to follow up? So for example, if I know that the chef after myself will need to serve, rather than wait for somebody's orders, you should already start putting out the bowls and the dishes so that it's easier for them to do. And it makes the process a lot smoother and a lot better. And in that context, it helps them, it trains them to think about the customer's perspective as well. So if I'm thinking about what the customer wants, what will the customer experience when I'm making my dishes? This was actually a major lesson, a major takeaway from his time as an apprentice. So one last question. 最後に質問になります。今日ね、京料理っていろいろしますので、田中さんにとっては京料理なんでしょう？
そうです。京料理って言いますとね、
一言
ではなかなか言い合わせない、もう長くなってしまうんですけど、あえて言うならば、いろんなね、もともと歴史で言うならば、いろんな料理が混ざって、それこそ上の料理とか、上の料理、あと精進料理、海鮮料理、いろんなお茶の料理とか混ざってできてるんですけども、常にね、変化はしてるんです、京料理と言います。で、変化してるというのは、やっぱり何で変化するかというと、やっぱりおもてなしの気持ちで、お客さんに喜んでもらいたい、どうやったら喜んでもらえるだろう、どうやったら美味しい料理を皆さんに提供できるだろうということをね、みんなが常に考えてやり続けたことによって、どんどんよく変化していって、だから今でもやっぱり変化していってますので、最近の、僕らの料理人の友達とかでも、みんなでね、料理の話をずっとしてね、こんなん使うと美味しい、新しいこんな食材、例えばフランスとかイタリアとかで使ってる食材やるように、そういうの食材を使ったらこんな美味しかったという話をね、意見を交換し合って、お互いにね、いいようになるようにっていうね、みんな切磋琢磨してね、いいものを作ろうっていうのでね、話し合って、そういうふうな、なんていうか、おもてなしの気持ちというか、みんな喜んでもらいたいという
today we'll be looking at Kyoto cuisine. And some of us might be wondering what's the difference between Kyoto cuisine and Japanese cuisine, right? Now, to Chef Tanaka, what exactly is Kyoto cuisine? When I asked him this, he was, well, to be frank, a little troubled, because there is no way to describe Kyoto cuisine in one word. It's almost impossible. Because Kyoto cuisine changes and evolves every day. Now, I don't know about you guys, I have this image that with chefs or with restaurants, they tend to be very protective of their secrets. They don't want a lot of people to sort of be involved. But in Kyoto, because a lot of skilled chefs are retained in Kyoto because of its history as the former capital of Japan. Now, together, as an industry, they want to improve. So while thinking about that, they like to get together and constantly, as part of the hospitality, they want the customers to eat food that tastes better. They want them to have things which are healthier. Constantly thinking about these kind of things, they would actually have a discussion with one another. So they would share ideas. They would tell them, for example, my restaurant is doing this. Do you want to try? They also incorporate external influences, like, for example, ingredients that you can commonly see in French or Italian cuisine, and think about how do we incorporate this into Japanese traditional cuisine? How do we make this the best experience for our customers? And Chef Tanaka believes that this is the essence of Kyoto cuisine, that a heart that cares for people and a mind that constantly thinks about the best for the customers. So, thank you very much, Chef Tanaka. So, let's move on to the live presentation so you can see what he has to for us. And join here.
今日はね、皆さんに和食日本料理のね、和食のお出汁っていうのをね、飲んでもらいたいなと思いますね。その献立の中にもね、お吸い物っていうのが金目鯛のお吸い物っていうのがあるんですけども、その中のね、基本的なお出汁っていうのをね、皆さんにちょっといろいろ飲み比べていただきたいと思います。
So now, I'm not sure whether there's a list or menu of any sort today. There are two dishes being served, and one of them would be, in Japanese we call it osuimono, which is in a way a sort of Japanese clear broth or Japanese soup. But the base of this soup is something which some of us might be familiar with. It's called dashi broth, made with certain ingredients. And today I'd like all of you to try this broth. Alright, では初めに
はい、水と昆布があるんですけども、まあ、お出汁と言いますと、大体基本は水と昆布とカツオ、それだけで取ります。ただの水だけです。で、ただ取り方がね、結構大事で、この水の中に昆布を入れて、まあね、昔はそうでもなかったんですけど、今科学的にね、これが証明されているのは60度から70度で、一番昆布の出汁が出ると言われています。だから1時間前から水に昆布つけて、60度から70度で。1時間で70度。それでこれだけ結構お出汁が出てますので、これをちょっと皆さんに飲んでいただきたいなというふうに思ってまして。
Alright, so now generally when you make the stock or the broth, the common three ingredients is just water, kelp, and bonito flakes. Now, in terms of preparation, a lot of us may not know this, but as what he's going to do is he's first going to prepare the kelp broth. So this is just kelp in water. And something that maybe for us, we would not know this if he hasn't told us. The best way to prepare kelp broth, to draw out the umami, the flavor of the kelp, is to boil it on moderate heat, 60 to 70 degrees at most. Now back then there were actually other ways to prepare kelp, but very recently they've scientifically proven that the best way to draw the flavors is either keep it at 60 to 70 degrees, so not too hot, not boiling the water away and sticking the kelp in like some of us, I myself have done. So that way you will be able to taste the broth and the flavor, the umami as we call it, then you will be able to try.
そうですね。
本当にこう、目指しの。
はい。まあ、旨味がね、すごく入っているんですけども、ここがね、そうだな、グルタミン酸っていう旨味なんですけども、これ、香りもね、皆さん見ながら味わっていただきたいなと思います。
Before you drink it.
はい。まあ、これだけのものならば、ある程度旨味もありますし、カツオを入れると変わってくるんですけども、大体昆布は北海道
no seasoning. You can enjoy the flavor. It might be a bit light, but there's still some depth in it. Now, basically he's boiled this for about an hour, so roughly an hour on moderate heat rather than high heat. And that draws out the umami into the broth itself. Usually when you look at kelp, for example, like this, you can probably, it's very famously, you can acquire it in Hokkaido, for example. This is where they farm or harvest most of the kelp. But once you get good kelp, for example, even if you have kelp which is not a lot of hybrid, you could actually prepare the dashi in this way. そうですね。お肉とかそういうのもね、全然入ってないから、精進料理にもね。
そうです。いけますので、はい、水だけですので、カツオ入る精進は無理なんですけど、これだけでは精進できます。美味しいですか？本当に塩とかも入ってないんですけど、味があるんですよ。だから結構ヘルシーなものだというふうにね言われてるんですけど、ここにね、カツオ節を入れるんですけども、カツオはこういうもので、カツオ節、こういうのは皆さんこういうのは見るけど、これはほとんど見られることだと思いますけど、これはすごく硬いもので、絶対食べないですし、世界一硬い食べ物ギネスブックに載るぐらいのものですので、これをね、昔はね、このようにカンナみたいなもので削りまして、削って、それで、こういうふうにしまして、出てくるものを入れて、
大変な作業です
ね。こんだけやろうと思うと、どんだけ時間かかるのか、今機械で。
So I was just commenting that because there's no fish, no meat in there, if you're a vegetarian, you could actually just use the kelp broth and you could actually incorporate that into vegetarian cuisine. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to add in bonito flakes. Now, I think most of us have not seen the bonito in its actual form. It's been smoked, fermented before it can become bonito. Back then, they would use this kind of tool to grate bonito flakes. And imagine if you had to make that many amounts, it's a lot of work. So nowadays, thanks to technology, we get machines to do it for us.
そしてね、コブ出したんですけども、60度から70度でっていうことだったんですけども、カツオ節を入れると沸騰直前まで火を当たります。ここが入っている時に沸騰させると美味しくなくなるのでダメなんですけども、最後カツオを入れる前は沸騰直前まで持ってきまして、最後火を消しましてカツオを入れます。カツオだって入れるんですけども、大体入れて10秒ほぐしていきます。
Alright, now, what happens is after he's removed the kelp, he's going to bring it to a boil, but just before it's bubbling, but not actually boiling, he will put in the bonito flakes for 10 seconds. So this is key, people, it's 10 seconds. Alright, and then he's going to drain it.
この時にあんまりかき回さない。かき回さない。あんまりぐちゃぐちゃかき回したりすると、美味しくなくなりますので、ゆっくりさらに絞らない。もったいないですけど絞らない。これが美味しいです。
Alright, another key point, when you put it in, don't stir it around. Just if you need to push it into the liquid, you might push it gently, but don't stir it around. And even though it looks like there's still a lot of liquid here and you might be tempted to compress it, please don't. Because what will happen is, in that 10 seconds, the best flavors, all the umami from the bonito flakes get drawn out and extracted into the broth. But if you compress it, you might extract elements of the bonito flakes, which might change the flavor of the broth. Not to say it won't become nice, but there are additional elements in there. And a major aspect of Japanese cuisine is that you want to bring the best out of your ingredients. You want to use the best part of your ingredients. So even though it looks like it's a real waste, don't try to smash it in and force the liquid to come out. Right?
カツオと昆布が合わさることによってうまみ成分がぐっと7倍になると言われます。
7倍ですか？カツオを入れるだけで7倍で？
さっきのうまみ成分、昆布のうまみ成分、カツオを入れるだけで7倍になると言われますので、皆さんその香りとかね、味とか7倍になるかと思うんですけど、感じてください。
Alright, so I hope some of you can sort of smell the fragrance of the bonito flakes even before you have a whiff, so you can enjoy the taste as well. Now, what's really interesting is right now he's pouring it in, but just by adding bonito flakes alone, the umami of the broth will increase by 7 times, 7-fold just by adding one ingredient. Because kelp itself has a lot of umami. If you add bonito flakes in it, it's literally a match made in heaven. It's the best possible combination in order to make Japanese stock or broth.
それでね、
そうですね。
皆さん感じていただけたらと思うんですけども、全く今塩とか醤油とか全く入ってません。
No seasoning, by the way, whatever you're drinking, no seasoning at all.
結構味あるでしょ。
そう、いかがでしょうか How is it? ね、美味しい。
美味しいですか。7倍になりました。
7倍になりましたかあ、
そうですね。
taste the difference.
それで、ここにね、食材をするものは、これに塩と醤油を少し入れてやるんですけども、ほとんどもういらないんですけども、今回、少しだけ塩を入れて、すり物がこれぐらいになるというのをね、味わっていただきたいと思います。
少しだけですね。Alright, so he's going to add a little bit of salt and soy sauce because when we talk about osuimono or Japanese soup, it's really just this is the basics of the basics. You could say that as long as you have this, you can do most dishes in Japanese cuisine. He's added in a little bit of salt and soy sauce just to season it for soup. But technically speaking, you can use this broth to make anything like 確かに例えばお味噌汁が作りたい場合はお味噌に入れて野菜とか入れて。
そうです。このね今お吸い物のように塩と醤油を入れましたけども、味噌汁を作りたい方はその塩と醤油を入れる味噌を入れるだけで、美味しいお味噌汁になりますし、いろいろ野菜とか魚とか肉でもいいですし入れて炊き合わせにしますと、肉の旨味とかこの出汁に入りますし、出汁の旨味が肉とかね魚とかに入ってきます。特にちょっと野菜をねこういう出汁で炊くとねすごく美味しくお野菜と一緒に炊くと美味しくできるという言われてます。
So, because this is, you could say, the base of it, the foundation. For example, if you really want to make miso soup, you don't add the salt and soy sauce, just put in miso. You can make quick miso soup. You can put vegetables, tofu, fish and meat. You can use it to braise or cook or pre-cook your vegetables for other cuisine. And the dashi itself will lend flavor to the ingredients in the same way where the ingredients will add on to the flavor of the broth. So this is really the kyono kyono thing. So the basics of the basics.
このねお出汁がねいろんな一緒に魚とかねお野菜とか一緒に炊くとき素材を生かしてくれるんです。例えば大根を一緒に炊いたら大根の旨味を引き立たせてくれるソースとかプラス料理ソースとかそれ自体がすごく美味しいんですけど、これも美味しいんですけども、何かと一緒に野菜とかと一緒に炊いた時にはその野菜の旨味をすごい引き出してくれて、その野菜の旨味をこの出汁にも入ってきまして、そこは美味しい相乗効果を両方とも美味しくなるというすごいどちらかというと引き立て役のビデオです。
そうですね。Alright. So what's interesting is really that because you can use it for almost anything. Dashi itself, the stock or broth itself, and as you are having it, I hope you can taste the difference as well, is that it has this very unique aspect of not overpowering or taking away from the natural flavors of other ingredients. It's able to cooperate in the sense with other ingredients to bring the best out of both ingredients. And that's really unique about perhaps Japanese stock compared to some of the stronger flavor ones that we might be used to here in Malaysia. これは何でしょうか。
そしてね、今作ったお出汁にこういうふうなね、今日金目鯛の水物っていうのを後で試食してもらえるんですけども、その骨がね、骨とか頭が残りますので、その骨と頭をね焼きまして、ちょっと塩して焼く。ちょっと塩することによって、臭みを抜いてくれる。そうなんですけど、置いていくとちょっと液体が出ます。それ臭みですので、それを抜いて。それで焼いたら、これがいいだしになっているんですけど、このだしの中に入れて、コトコトコトとね、ちょっと30分ぐらいね、すると、すごくね、そのだしがね、すごくコクのあるだしになりますので、ほとんど調味料がなくても美味しくなるというだしになります。後で試食しますので、違いが分かってます。
そうですね、楽しみにしますね。So later on, we will bring out the osuimono for you to try. An additional thing is that for that particular dish is that now that we have red snapper here, what he's done is that he's basically took out the flesh and salted the bones and leave it for a while. What happens is now whenever we talk about fish, some of us are afraid of that fishy smell, right? In Cantonese we say there's a sang here. And we want to get rid of that fishiness. So by salting a bit and leaving it for a while, you sometimes can see a liquid drain out of your fish. That's actually the source of the fishiness. So just by doing that, you can get rid of the fishiness. He's grilled the bones lightly and then put it into the broth and boiled it together with the broth, with the dashi. Now that is the base of the soup that we're using for the osuimono that we will serve you later. And I think he's also showing us the other things that you would probably see. So there's radish and red snapper. So later this is actually will be what you'll be having in your osuimono. It's red snapper and radish with a little bit of uguisuna, which is the green shoots from a plant that is similar to the turnip family. I don't actually know what is actually the turnip family, so I'm not too sure myself. Now, even for the radish, for example, they've actually boiled it in dashi for like roughly about an hour, and it's steeped in flavor. So later on, all they have to do is add the soup stock here, and we will serve you towards the end. Apparently in Japanese cuisine, you serve the soup or the so the soup towards the end rather than the beginning. Very different from some of our cultures because they don't want you to get too full before you eat the rest of the stuff. All right.
それでこれにその先ほど言ったこれと出汁をかけて木の芽をのして皆さんに渡していただきますので、木の芽っていうのは丸を払ってますね。結構ね、ピリッとして美味しいです。ぜひ味わってみてください。
So in your soup later you will see called kinome, which is a spring herb. I'm not sure there's an actual English word for it. I don't think we've actually seen it in Malaysian food. So that will have a very refreshing, a slight spiciness to it. So if you could have that, you could probably also experience that for yourself. これは2名ですね。
いいですか？これはサワラの味噌岩煮焼きとしまして、ここ焼き物にはねこういう深くなっててご飯のようにこれ工場で細工してるんです。
そうですね。
こういうのは甘酸っぱいさっぱりしたものを食べたくなるんですけども、その都度これをどうやって作るかっていうのをちょっと皆さんにご紹介していただきたいと思います。
So this is actually the second dish is going to present, but the first dish you probably get. This is a sawara no miso hiuanki. So this is Japanese Spanish mackerel, which has been marinated and grilled with miso. And if you observe the white chrysanthemum-like object here, this is actually radish, pickled radish, sliced in such a way that when you open it up, it resembles a chrysanthemum flower. So there's even a little bit of red inside to emphasize that. Now, in Japanese culture, it's actually going to demonstrate for us how it's being done, but in Japanese culture, it's very common to balance the flavors of your food. Now, the fish, for example, might be a bit more strongly flavored because of the miso. They would actually then complement it with the more refreshing, slightly sour pickled radish. But,
そしてね、このかぶらなんですけども、かぶらの天地を落としまして皮を取ります。そしてね、これが全部消えてしまうとつながらないので、ちょっと指をね、出すんです、こういうふうに。そしてこういうふうにやることによって下までつかないっていう、これがなかったら、指がなかったら当たってしまうんですけど、指をちょっと出すことによって
指は切ったりはしませんか？
それは大丈夫です。これが中に入らない。
そうですね。Alright, so what was interesting is it's going to cut a cross section in the turnip. Now, the concern here is, of course, if I cut all the way down, it would get disconnected and I won't be able to make a flower out of it. So what the chef has done is use the tip of his finger to hold the edge of the knife in place. So even if you slice all the way to the bottom, because of the gap, it won't slice all the way down. Now he's a professional and I'm not. I would get really worried about cutting my finger at this stage. I would be really freaked out. So he's cutting it very finely and it's just a very fine cross section across the board. Okay, so it doesn't quite look like it just yet. I see.
ただね、この状態でちょっと硬いので、塩水をつけて一晩置きます。その後に甘酢、砂糖と普通の水の中に入れますと、お花のようにきれいに開いて、きれいなこのようなきれいな開いてお花のように見えて、真ん中は唐辛子を小さいくらいをつけました。
So if you open it up, it would actually resolve it would actually resemble the chrysanthemum flower. Now it's a little bit hard, but they would soak it in salt water overnight and then season it further with a sweet vinegar. It would soften and open up more easily and also become very refreshing. I just received news that your food is ready. ちょっと料理が出来上がったという合図ができました。はい、OK。
焼き物がね、ちょっと焼き上がりましたので、この味噌板焼きが先にね、焼きたてを食べていただきたいと思いますので、食べながら聞いてください。
Alright, so we're going to bring up your first dish, which is your miso grilled Japanese Spanish mackerel. We would like you to enjoy your food while listening to the rest of this presentation. Some of you might be very hungry, and I know some of you like to take photos of your food. Before you do, I'd like to also draw your attention. Now there is of course the sawara and your kikukaburazo, your radish right here. But we would also like to introduce to you a third dish that's on your plate. それは何でしょうか？
これは白あえと言いまして、
白あえです。
豆腐とごま、砂糖と醤油で味付けしたものなんですけども、結構ね、白あえとぐちゃぐちゃ混ぜるんですけども、ちょっとこのエビとかね、彩りも綺麗ですので、そういうのをぜひ目でも楽しんでいただきたいと思いまして、こういうふうに分けて、だから一緒に食べていただきたいと思います。一番上には花びらユニットと言いまして、桜の花びら、そうですね。ちらちらと落ちるようなものをやってますので、ピンクでちょっと色をつけてますので、有利になっているので、ぜひ見て楽しんでください。
So now if you look at it, you will see that there is a different dish that's called shirai, which is basically a tofu paste of sorts. What they do is usually they remove the water content from the tofu. They put something heavy on top and remove the water content. Then they mash it up in a sense and mix it with sesame oil, salt, just a tiny bit of salt, sugar and soy sauce, and they mix it into something of a paste. As far as I understand, it's actually pretty common in Japanese household. They would mix it with vegetables, I believe, to make some sort of a tofu mash. I think for Malaysians this would be pretty rare because we don't usually eat tofu in that form. Although it's usually made into a mash, but for this particular special occasion, he's put in other ingredients like prawn and scallop with other beans there. He would like you to eat the other ingredients together with the shirai. So 一緒にね、食べて味わって。
そうですね。これ春の日本の春らしい食材をね入れてるんです。例えば菜の花だとかいつこれは花びらよりも春らしく桜とかの時に
そうですね。すごく季節感が。
そうですね。あとエビと貝柱っていうので、彩りもね赤と黄色と緑がねすごく綺麗に言われてますので、目でも楽しんでいただけるというところも考えていただきます。
So you can see it's a very, very vibrant and very colorful dish. Now because this is of course the ohanami season, right? Springtime. He's used ingredients or crops that is usually harvested in the spring. He's also arranged the dish in such a way to better reflect the season. For example, there's a lily bulb with a slight pink tint made to resemble the sakura petal, and even the Ismail, broad beans perhaps. And I can't translate nanohana in English, but I know that the Cantonese name is literally Choi San Fa. So if you all know what it is, you can go back and look for Choi San Fa and you can make something similar. But these are spring crops, and you can eat it together just to taste what it's like.
はい。このようにね、皆さん食べていただきたいと思うんですけど、ちょっとね、ちょっとずつこの仕上げをね、つけながら食べていただいたら、それ自身もね、食材自身もそれみたいに味はね、つけてますし、だしで味付けたりしてるんですけど、思います。はい、あと焼き物を食べた後はさっぱりのこのカップラーメンね、目で楽しんでいただけて、食べていただいてさっぱりしてもらったら口の中がスッとキレがいいというか、なると思いますので、味わってください。
Alright, so while you're alternating between your shirai and your fish, your sawara, if you feel like you want to reset your mouth, you want to cleanse your palate and enjoy the flavors again, you can take a bite of the pickled radish and reset your palate. It works as a palate cleanser, and continue eating. It will give you a very interesting re-experience of all these flavors. And I also see that your oshimono has also appeared. そうね。はい、ちょっとそうですね。サワラのね。
一緒にワインっていうんですけども、サワラでどうやって作ってるかと言いますと、まずサワラを切り身にしまして、塩を混ぜます。塩を混ぜて一晩置くことによって、臭み 200ミリリットル、醤油150ミリリットル、白味噌200グラム、この分量のあと水を切り身を2つ入れました。火の中につけて焼いています。
Now, in terms of preparation of the sara, which is not interestingly, in terms of preparation, there are a lot of preparations needed in order to make good food. What they've done is that they season it with salt and leave it overnight so that you can get rid of the fishiness, as we talked about earlier, and then slice it up. And he prepared this miso marinade that you can see here. Now, he's kindly written down the portion for me, so I'm going to say this here. If you want the recipe and you want to find out how much of these ingredients you need, you better take up your phone, your recorder, your pen and pencil now, because I'm going to read it out. もしかしたら作りたい、家で作りたい方がいればいらっしゃったら、今読んでますのでメモってくださいね。Alright, first of all, Japanese sake, 350 ml, mirin 200 ml, shoyu, so the soy sauce 150 ml, and roughly 200 grams of white miso. So you would have all these four elements mixed with a little bit of water. And in the case of Chef Tanaka, he's put in citron, to make the marinade. And you marinate this for 8 hours. Oh, 8時間というか一晩でも。
夜つけて朝出したらちょうどいいんじゃないかなというぐらいの時間で作っております。
So you can actually marinate this for 8 hours, meaning you can do it overnight and prepare it at night, and then actually prepare to grill it in the morning. Now, if those of you who are wondering whether, especially for those who prefer halal food, I believe there are halal mirin out there nowadays as well. If you're worried about this, そうですね。マレーシアの醤油はちょっと甘みがありますし、もしかして白味噌がなんかトロトロしますか？
京都の白味噌はね、すごく甘いんですね。最強の味と言いまして。ですので、その場面、こちらの味噌ね、僕は今回使うときに辛かったんで、ちょうどそういうの合わせてちょっといいんじゃないかなと思って。
そうですか。
なんじゃないかなと思ってます。まだ子供の白いの今日もこんな感じでやってますので。
Alright, so because I was wondering whether if Malaysian soy sauce tends to be a bit sweeter, and what I can't find white miso. So today when he was making the dishes, he realized that Malaysian miso tends to be a bit saltier. So he thought the sweetness from the soy sauce and the saltiness from the miso kind of balance each other out. Of course, it's a matter of personal preference. Now for the shirai, for the tofu, he's actually also written it down, the portion. Now. Let me see. So there is tofu, and then so sesame 60 grams. So you can actually grind the sesame finely and mix it together if you want, or you can just use sesame oil. 30 grams of sugar. あとこれは30グラム入れますね。So 30 grams of sugar.
この辺はお好みです。先ほどの味噌祝いのもお好みで、それぞれこれがベースになりますけど、自分はちょっと甘いのが好き、もうちょっと辛いのが好きというのがありましたら、その辺は調節していただいたらいいですので、これは今回作った分量なんですけども、あとはね、味噌の種類、醤油の種類とかで、それぞれ皆さん、同じ醤油と言いましても、家庭によって違いますので、その辺は最後は自分の好みに合わせて、これをベースに好みに合わせて、自分の好みの味を作っていただけたら、
Alright, so especially for this, even then it's actually quite simple. If you just have like 60 grams of sesame, 30 grams of sugar, just a little bit of soy sauce, and a touch of salt. Now, because he's removed the water content, that's why the tofu resembles the paste. I was told that even if you don't remove the water content, you could still do the shirai just to become a lot creamier. So if you prefer the creamier version, you don't exactly have to remove the water content. そうですね、お豆腐の水分を取らなかったら問題になりますか？その仕上げが。
そうです、水分をしっかり取らないとべちゃーっとしたになりますので、しかも、
べちゃべちゃにする方がもうちょっと好きです。
湯がいていただいて、
ちょっと考えてるだけです。
湯がいて、お塩してください。お塩してしっかり水気を切っていただいてから、油をして、吸ったごまと合わせてもらわないと、べちゃーっとなってくると、美味しくないです。
そうですね。はい、わかりました。
硬いところに砂糖に醤油を入れて 伸ばしたかったらダッシュで伸ばしていただいたら。
ダッシュで伸ばしますね。はい、わかりました。
それで伸ばす方もいらっしゃいます。はい。
Alright, so in case you're wondering how you want to remove water content, you can just put it on your chopping board, put something maybe on top, and the water will be extracted from the tofu. If you want it, for example, if it's a bit too dry for you, you could use dashi to make it a little bit more liquid in nature. Another possibility is to use vinegar, although that would create a slightly acidic taste as well. So everybody's all the way into your meal. How was your meal? いかがでしたか？美味しいでしたか？ちょっと感想を聞きたいと思いますので、ちょっと前に。はい。So I'm going to come up to the front and see how all of you are handling. How are you? Okay, how's the food so far? 美味しそうですね。すごく幸せになってますね。美味しそうに。Right, if you have any questions at this time, we will also take questions. So if you もしかして質問があれば今のうちにシェフさんにどうぞください。So if you have any other yes. 里に関してさっきも里の話なんですけど、あとも黒砂糖とかそういうのもありますので、そういうのを使ってもいいですかって。
はい、もちろん黒砂糖でしたら黒砂糖のコクみたいなのも出てきますし、またちょっと味も変わってきますけど、美味しくできると思いますし、はい、全然大丈夫です。
So you can use other kinds of sugars, and what's interesting that because they have slightly different flavors, that would change the taste of your shirai slightly. So that would be pretty interesting for you guys to try as well. Alright. そうですね。お豆腐は、その蒸してからそのまま取って
まず湯がくんですね。ちょっとサイズの豆腐って四角いじゃないですか。そしたら切って、半分4等分とかに切りまして、一回湯がくんですね。湯がくんが湯でボイルして、ボイルしてその後に重しをかけるんです。重しをかけて、要は水分をできるだけ取ってしまう。
Okay, so you have to boil the tofu first. So this cut it into portions, boil the tofu first, and put something with weight on top, just to. 例えばサラシとかそういうのがいりますかって。サラシを使ったり。
サラシがよりいいです。
So you don't exactly have to, but if you use like a cheesecloth or a muslin, it'll be better as in terms of draining the water. Yes, you can.
ごまをよくすり鉢で洗っていったごまをよくいったっていうのが分かりますか？ごまをよくすりつぶした方が食感がいい感じで、多分今の料理につけますので、すごいごまの香りもしたと思います。でもし黒砂糖とか入れたらごまの香りがちょっと落ちるかなっていうのを思うんですけども、なので白砂糖でさせていただきました。
Alright. So it really depends because some people they want to fine grind in a sense. So you could actually grind your sesame ahead of time and then we mix it well with one. But some people might put it in differently. So that really depends on personal preference. And also if you grind it ahead before that, the fragrance from the sesame will also get released because of the essential oils, right? If you plan to use other kinds of sugar, especially sugars with slightly stronger flavors, you may not. Well, in his case, he chose to use normal white sugar because he thought that wouldn't take away from the smell of the sesame. So that was the decision. But of course, you can try different combinations and see what's more your cup of tea. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
もしかしたらまだ質問がある。
はい、ぜひどうぞ。
はい、どんどん質問をしてください。本当に今日は最後なんですからね。もうその後帰りますよね、京都に。
はい、もう明日帰りますので。
はい。There's a question at the back. No worries, sir. I'll come to you. Alright, yes. こんにちは。
I must really congratulate you because in the first place I don't take fish. I don't eat fish in my diet. But today I have never tasted fish so nice. It's not fishy at all. It's not smelly. I'm going to get my wife to learn how to cook. Congratulations.
ね、昨日と同じく魚が苦手な方で、今日そのスパラ食べて美味しい魚料理を食べたの初めてっていう。
ありがとうございます。
So that's amazing. Yeah. なんかもしかして奥さんにもそういう風に作られないのかなっていう。Thank you so much. So much.
多分ね。魚って結構臭みがあることが多いんですけど、特に大事なんですけども、どうやって締めて作るかっていうと、日本とかでしたら、生け締めとかいう技術がありまして、身はまだ生きてる状態、魚は知ってるけど、身は生きてる状態っていうのを生け締めっていう技術があるんです。それは殺してるけど、神経を抜きまして、美味しい状態で、身はまだ生きてる状態で運ばれてくる。で、私たちが食べた時にはまだ生きてる。身は生きてるので、鮮度がいいっていう状態がある。そういうのはすごい鮮度がいいっていうのが大きいところもありますし、あと、臭みを抜く、先ほど言いましたように、塩をして、一晩寝かしまして、で、出てきた液体が臭みですので、それを抜いて、またそれから調理してますので、その出てきたやつにしっかり見とってあげて、っていうところで多分臭みが抜けて、多分美味しく食べられたんじゃないかなというふうに思います。
Now, before I translate that, I see that your dessert is on its way out. The sakura mochi and green tea are actually complimentary from the organizers, so please do enjoy it. デザートのね、桜餅と紅茶をご用意いたしました。こちらの方は主催者からのサービスです。So, very quickly, I'll go back to what he was talking about. Perhaps one of the reasons why a lot of us may not be okay with fish, we don't like fish, is because of that, the fishiness, right? In Japan, for example, some practices that they use to get rid of the fishiness, I hope I'm translating this right. See, even when we get fresh fish from the ocean, of course the fish itself is, in a sense, not alive anymore because it's out of the water. Even then, they will cut the blood vessels off because that removes the fishiness from the fish itself. And of course, as explained earlier, if you salt it and then leave it overnight, you will extract this liquid, this salty, not salty, this liquid that actually is the source of the fishiness. So if you're able to do the extra preparation work, so as to speak, extra preparation work to do this, the fishiness will disappear, and then you will then continue to season it and prepare it for other dishes. So in Japanese cuisine, it's actually common that it looks very simple to put together, but there's actually a lot of preparation work involved. さっきのね、日本料理っていうか和食ってすごく簡単に作られるように見えましたけど、下ごしらえかなりあると思いますが。
はい、本当にね、ちょっとしたね、その魚を切って調理するだけで、そんなに美味しくはできないんですけど、やっぱりその手間暇をかけるっていうところがとても大事なところで、それが完成する前の間にやっぱり2日3日かかるものもありますし、炊いて、炊いてちょっと置いといた方が美味しくなる。ナチュラルとかいろいろあるんですけど、塩をしたようにそういうのもありますし、いろんな手間暇をかけるっていうところがすごくね、美味しくするというところが大きいところでありまして、その簡単なことなんですけども、ちょっと面倒くさいことなんですけども、これが美味しくする秘訣で、僕らはやっぱりそういうところに絶対手を抜いちゃいけないなっていう。
そうですね、美味しいものをね、食べたいのもうちょっと頑張りたいねみたいな。はい、わかりました。So even he was just validating the fact that there are a lot of preparation work involved in order for us to enjoy good food. So even though it seems like it might be a lot of work, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, just by taking some extra steps to prepare the ingredients well, that would change the taste of your food drastically afterwards. So in that sense, that is something that they really value in Japanese cuisine. So to actually take the extra time and effort in order to prepare the ingredients well and prepare the best cuisine for their customers. So that's an aspect that I think is very respectable and admirable about Japanese cuisine. Now,
やっぱり皆さんに美味しいものを食べていただきたい、喜んでいただきたい、笑顔になっていただきたい。
as long as you can tell them that it tastes great, for them that's the best reward or the most fulfillment that they can. And I believe there's an additional question. Yes.